Sometimes a number is not enough. We need to know which way. I'm going to look at the difference between scalars and vectors, but first let's look at what a variable is. A variable is a value that can change. When we do a practical investigation, we take measurements. We take measurements to determine the value of the variable. Variables could be things like mass, length, voltage, or time. If we measure mass, then just the number is important. For example, if I tell you that I've got a mass of 80 kilograms, I wish, then that's all you need to know to determine my mass. You don't need anything else to describe it. This is called a scalar quantity. It's one where only size matters. We often call the size the magnitude. And so a scalar quantity is a quantity that just has magnitude. Sometimes, however, we need direction. When you go on a journey, it's good to know how far you're going, but it's also good to know which way you're going. When you have a variable with both magnitude and direction, then you have a vector quantity. At GCSE, the direction is generally forwards or backwards. We write this as plus or minus. So for a vector quantity, the sign is very important. Having said that, there's a couple of things I should point out. Firstly, temperature. Temperature is a scalar property. It only has a size. It has no direction associated with it. However, we've chosen a scale where 0 degrees is the melting point of ice and 100 degrees is the boiling point of water. And that helps us sort of relate to that scale. Now, it does mean, though, that when we get to 0 and we want to measure colder temperatures, we need to go minus. We need to use minus temperatures. Obviously, I'm talking about the Celsius scale. It is not a vector, however. There is no direction associated with temperature. The other thing I should mention is you may still need to take a protractor into your exam because you may be asked to measure the angle on a vector diagram. This is particularly true with forces. I've previously done a video on vector diagrams with examples, so I'll put a link to that in the description. So let's have a quick fire quiz to see if you can decide which quantities are vector quantities and which quantities are scalar quantities. Before I do that though, can I point you in the direction of my website where there's lots of free resources, including questions and worked answers to go with every video, including this one. I also give one-to-one lessons for those studying GCSE or A-level physics on the topic of your choice. Information about my lessons and small online classes is all available from the link in the description. To continue to produce more free resources, I need to ask for your support. So if you could just take a moment to like, subscribe, comment and share, then it will cheer up the YouTube algorithm, which will then send more people my way. I'd appreciate that, thank you. Now back to the quiz. Remember, if a variable has a direction, then it's a vector quantity. Just ask yourself, can it be plus or minus? If it can, then it's a vector. If it can't, it's scalar. If you think it's a vector, then shout out vector, especially if you're in the queue in Aldi or on the bus. If you think it's a scalar, shout out scalar. So here's 10 questions. Let's start. Here's an easy first one. Mass. Yeah, mass is a scalar. You can't have a negative mass. Second one, temperature. Yeah, well remembered. Yeah, temperature is a tricky one because it can be negative, but it doesn't have direction, so it's a scalar property. 3, force. Yes, force has direction, so it's a vector quantity. You push or pull things. Speed. So speed on its own is a scalar quantity. It doesn't have any direction. If you look at the speedometer in a car, it doesn't say plus or minus. It only just gives you a number. Try this one then. Velocity. Velocity is the vector of speed. You must have direction to turn speed into velocity. At GCSE, that means velocity can be positive or negative. Number 6, displacement. Well, like velocity is a vector of speed, then displacement is the vector of distance. because it's a distance with a direction. It's how far something's displaced and in which direction. So 7, voltage. Did you spot the voltage could be positive or negative? It does matter which way you plug things like batteries into remote controls or which way you plug components in like diodes. So voltage is a vector. Number 8, time. Time is a scalar property. And don't try and give me any nonsense about time going backwards or anything like that. Right, you've got 2 left. Number 9, weight. No, don't wait. I mean the variable weight. Weight is a force that pulls down. So like all forces, the direction's important. So it must be a vector. Finally, number 10, energy. Energy is a scalar quantity. There is no direction associated with energy. How did you do? I'd love it if you told me in the comments. Until next time, watch... I don't mind. That one there. Just there.